Hello, welcome to another day of me playing around with some modular synthesis. I tried something a bit more up-tempo today and I was trying to experiment with a few things. I didn't really end up with what I started out with, or what I started out intending to do, but that's sometimes how it goes. So I wanted to play a little more around with this Foundry sequencer. I wanted to try and get a really sort of big bass sound, but not in the sort of fat bass, but more of a cinema orchestral, like dun sort of thing. Didn't really figure it out, but that's okay. We'll start with some drums. I'll just wire up this gate sequencer here, run reset clock, and hit run. I've just programmed in just some basic, like a faster kind of thing. We'll just wire up all of this into a drum mixer. That's kind of the idea. And to try and make this sound a little more driving, I also added an open hi-hat. No. Yeah, just doubling up the hat with that open hi-hat to just make it a bit more. I'm not really going to play around with the drum sounds on this. That's not really what I was after, what I wanted to focus on. What I wanted to look at was this Foundry sequencer. One thing I thought was I wanted to add a bit more interest to the kick drum, and so I actually moved that over into Foundry here. And I think you can possibly do this with a gate sequencer, but Foundry is the one that I'm focusing on at the moment, so we'll run with that. And now, oops, we need to wire this up too. So we've got a reset, a run, and a clock. Reset. Yeah, and what you can do on each of these is you can set a p-value for the gate, which when active means that it will only play this percentage of the time, which means you can have it just adds a little more variety. So a lot of these notes here, you'll notice I've got p-values set on, and for this one here, it's not actually using the p-value because this thing isn't set. So I might just drop these p-values a little bit. I don't need it quite that busy in the end. Yeah, so you can see it sort of adds a little bit of interest without us having to do an awful lot, which is pretty cool. Then what I want to do is I wanted to kind of get this big bass sound underneath it, kind of drony thing, and so I just picked a VCO. I found this chainsaw one from Sonus, which I think is just 3 different saws. I'll reinitialize it actually. 3 different saws. And so I've sequenced track B just with a single note, so it's not really doing anything interesting, but Voct CV and then the gate, yeah, we'll run that through an envelope. There, output in, low pass filter, mixer. So that sounds pretty ugly by itself. I'm just going to mute the drums for a moment. So we'll drop it. Oops, too much. -1 octave, -2 octave. Mess around with the shape a little bit. It's pretty fuzzy. And so I kind of want this to just why is that staying on K? It's tied. I don't want it to be tied. all the same node. They're all should be sending gate. Yeah, it just feels like it's held for really long. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess we can do it like that. Put gaps in the middle. I'm not really sure why I need to do that, but that's okay. So if we select 4, copy, there, paste, and then put the length up to 8, and the clock resolution. There we go. Then we can make it like kind of pulsing. Yeah, that'll do for now. And then I initially wanted some high stabby chords, and I found this. I just was again picking a random PCO. This addiction one here from Sonus again, and it's actually really interesting what it does. So if I zero it out, actually let's make it so we can hear it first. So I've actually now I've connected a Nano Key 2 as a MIDI device, so we can just run the VOCT in VOCT. I'll just quickly set up an envelope for it. There we go. And so I was kind of thinking like having some high stabs up there. But I'll just quickly show you what this oscillator does because it's pretty cool. So we'll just zero everything out. There's probably a quicker way to do this. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, so now it's just a sine wave, right? That's the first harmonic sine wave. Then I can add in major third, perfect fifth, or a minor third. Then there's also the second harmonic, so the octave above, and then on top of that harmonic, you can do major third, perfect fifth on top of that harmonic, and you go all the way up, so you go to the third harmonic, so it's the fifth above? Yeah, fifth above. Again, the interval on top of that, and then the fourth harmonic. Right, so you sort of just build up this really sort of interesting kind of chord. So I actually quite like the. So up high. So I was kind of trying to find something nice up there and taking out some of the upper harmonics to try and make it work. But what I ended up doing was using it as a lower chord level instead. So like down here. Like I kind of feel like it sounds quite nice down there, and so I'm not going to sequence in. I've already sequenced the chords in, and I'm not going to go through that because it took a little bit of time. But it's on track C here. So track C, we'll take the CV. I can't remember if I did it at the right octave or not, so we'll run it through an octave there just in case. And then the gate comes from the gate. That bass sounds out of tune now. Alright, let's see if I can tune this bass back. so far we haven't done anything kind of that interesting. Next up, so that was sort of going to be my melody, but now it's just a chord layer. So I thought I'd try and sequence in a bit of a melody, and I started just by improvising this on the nano key. And a cool thing, a cool trick I like is using this gate. We actually used this yesterday for a fade out sort of trick, but here I'm going to run the MIDI V-octave gate through high, and then I'm going to run the sequencer CV and gate through low. And so now I can toggle between playing what's in the sequencer and playing what's on MIDI, and we have to use this latch thing here. Now this modal synthesizer from Audible Instruments, it's good for sort of melody and breathy and all sorts of cool stuff, and it's kind of effectively got a built-in envelope, so we don't really need to do that ourselves. V-oct gate, and then left and right. Yes, I have a VCA here. I'm not sure whether I'm going to use that or not. Okay, cool story. It's not working. Oh, because yes, there's actually a huge amount of so I may end up wanting an envelope on that actually, just to because there's a lot of trail off, but we'll see where we get to. And so the melody, I kind of wanted something along the lines of there's actually quite a lot of lag on that. That kind of thing. I can't actually play it because for some reason it's lagging a lot right now. But you kind of get the idea. So I sequenced in something like that onto track D. And there's actually, I just kept going with sequences here. So there's there's actually 6 sequences. I did 8 and then I ended up not using some of them. So 8 is the final one, and 1 to 5, 1 to 4, yeah, are the other ones. And then in song mode, I just set each phase to each sequence and then finished it at the end of phase 6. And if that's wired up, we can flip over to the sequencer. Oh, and now I remember. So that little flourish at the end, I was like, that's kind of a bit loud. And it would be nice if that was a bit softer. So what I did is on sequence 8, where that is, actually no, so for all these initial sequences, I'm using the CV2 output. So actually sequence 2 is a better example. So CV2, by default, CV2 is always 5 on these. So I did select all, then you can change the CV of all the notes together. I actually didn't know you could do that. That's the thing I learned today. Change CV, you can change other things as well. So actually that's probably a really good way to clear everything. Let me just pick a random sequence, because by default everything is gated, right? But if we select everything, turn off gate, okay, I've been doing that a really bad way. So we're learning, this is great. But anyway, so the CV is 10, and then on this last sequence I've just dropped the CV2 down a little bit, and then since we're looping, the start of sequence 1 also needed to have the lowest CV number, so it didn't so the volume didn't flip around. But anyway, that CV2 we can run into a VCA, and then actually we kind of want 2 of them because we've got left and right channels. So oops, I wonder, there's probably like, is there a stereo VCA? I mean, we could just plug it straight into the mixer, couldn't we? Yeah, maybe we'll do that actually. So rather than doing that, go away, go left, right, and then is this CV a mount? Yes. Yeah, that's CV amount. So now you can see that it's cut it. But if we go over, say here, it's now back up. That's pretty cool. The problem is it's actually too loud and we can't make it softer. That's kind of annoying, isn't it? Yeah, we can't go any lower than that. Okay, well, let's just go back to what we had before. Like that. Yeah, now we can actually control the volume a bit easier. And let's also get the tone right. So we'll go to song so it repeats properly. So let's just play around with the settings a bit. Kind of want it. That's how hard you hit it. Okay. With a duller mallet, and that's a more metallic mallet. So I think we'll use a duller mallet to take a bit of the edge off. Brightness. A bit more tinny. I kind of like it up higher, I think. Yeah, I don't really know if I want any of this. We don't need a lot of that, I don't think. And then, final one, we'll just play around with the timbre a little bit. Yeah, that's pretty good. So let's just do a bit of mixing and effects. I want to put a bit of reverb on this guy. So in mix. That's too much. Yeah, okay, we'll try that. Actually, one thing I wanted to try is I kind of want to try putting some reverb on the kick, because I heard something kind of like this I'll screw it on. So in put that in mix. Jam I came up with today. Learned a couple of extra features around the Foundry. Still want to play around more with getting some bass sound. I'm not really getting what I was going for at the moment. And then I'd actually never used this audible instruments synthesizer either. I knew about it, but it had a pretty cool bell sound actually. actually. I quite like it. I might use that some more. It might be fun to play around with arpeggiating that. And then, yeah, this Addiction VCV, actually just straight out of the box. I really like that sort of chord backing sound it gives. So anyway, thank you for joining us. Hope you learned something. Hope you had fun. And I'll see you next time.